everybody, I'm Stella Chung, and this is the Weekly Fix, the show where we round up all the gaming and entertainment headlines you may have missed this week. PlayStation has released a new feature to the PS5 gameplay sharing function, plus some new job listings at Sucker Punch Studios may allude to a Ghost of Tsushima sequel. In the entertainment world, Ezra Miller is allegedly back at it again with allegations, and Vince McMahon has stepped down as chairman of WWE. Hope you're having a good one, and let's jump right into it.
If you're like us here at IGN, you probably take a ton of gameplay captures and screenshots of your games. PlayStation 5 users got an update to the free Share Factory Studio app that adds bits to your slate of editing tools. According to the PlayStation blog, bits are, quote, a simplified way to personalize and share your gameplay clips and screenshots. Basically, you select a gameplay clip or screenshot, choose a viral meme style, maybe add flair like stickers, sound effects, music, draw all over it, or even record voiceover, and then upload it to your platform of choice. Or you can just leave it in your account to upload later, and all your bits will be accessible via the PlayStation mobile app. It's quick and easy to turn your gameplay clips into memes, and it's totally free. Again, you'll need to download or update the Share Factory Studio app to your PlayStation 5, and it'll come with the bits. Unfortunately, there's no word if the bits feature is coming to PlayStation 4, but the Share Factory Studio app is still available on last gen. We have a very impressive Elden Ring boss fight for you today. We've seen gamers explore the lands between with cheapo Fisher-Price controller, a DDR dance pad, and now, how about a harp? That's right, Anna Ellsworth, a harpist who has played at world-class venues like Carnegie Hall, not only has beaten Elden Ring, but decided to challenge herself by taking on one of the game's bosses using her real-life harp. In a video posted to her YouTube channel, Ellsworth ventured into the market encounter early in the game wielding a katana and practically nothing else, not even armor, but that was more than enough for a harpist of her skill. In a little over 2 minutes, she shredded through the fell omen while plucking away at her heart that's somehow connected to presumably a PC running the PC version of Elden Ring. This isn't the first time Ellsworth has done something like this. Back in April, she posted a video of her taking on Dark Souls Ornstein and Smell with her harp, also coming out on top. Pretty good, I guess, but let's see somebody beat Millennia with a French horn or something. Sucker Punch Studios, the developers behind Ghost of Tsushima, are hiring new talent to work on what appears to be an open-world action stealth game with job descriptions alluding to a potential sequel. On the studio's career page, a variety of roles have appeared, but what really stands out is a description of some of the listings. For the role of combat designer, it asks, do you delight in knowing the details of attack or parry timing and count frames? Now, unless we're the kids in Grounded, the only thing I can think of is a sword, axe, or some other combat weapon normally found in Ghost of Tsushima. Further down the listing, the role also asks applicants if they have played previous Sucker Punch games, suggesting applicants will need to be familiar with the studio's games and potential core mechanics. Looking at other descriptions, the role of encounter designer lists a responsibility to, quote, deliver interesting and varied encounters in an open world game with a particular focus on melee combat and stealth. While we don't have an official announcement from Sucker Punch yet, this could also suggest a sequel rather than an all-new game, as Ghost of Tsushima does check all the boxes. The other shot in the dark is a potential Sly Cooper game, since the last entry was 2013 Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. Though I personally would be much happier with a new Ghost of Tsushima sequel, let me know in the comments what other game could Sucker Punch be working on next. Moving on, if you've been dragging your feet to get Fall Guys on Steam, well, as of today, it's been officially delisted from the Steam store. In a post from Fall Guys Steam community page, developer Mediatonic confirmed the removal but reassured that anyone who owns the game will continue to receive full support and all updates including cross-play and cross-progression support. Any new players looking to pick up Fall Guys after June 21st will have to head to the Epic Games Store. Epic Games officially acquired Tonic Games Group, the development company behind Fall Guys, back in March of 2021. And starting today, June 21st, Fall Guys is going free to play and is available across platforms like Xbox, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch, with a new version for the PlayStation 5. Fall Guys Free for All will also feature new rounds, new obstacles, and a brand new season pass, and so much more. So although new PC players will need to get the game on the Epic Store moving forward, there's still a boatload of new stuff coming today, and it's still free! You can't be mad at free games. Come on, guys. And finally, you've seen Doom playable in cars, on fridges, heck, even inside a pregnancy test. But today, one fan has now made Doom playable inside a single Lego brick. Doom fan James Brown is the mastermind behind the latest and possibly smallest LCD screen to ever play Doom. With the brick screen resolution of 72 by 40, fans will be able to play the iconic game if you can manage to see what's going on. The game is limited to monochrome output, so maybe it's not very playable, but it's still pretty cool. Square Enix revealed the first trailer for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, now titled Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, during a stream celebrating the original game's 25th anniversary, and from what we've seen, Rebirth is doing things a little differently than the PlayStation 1 game did. And just a heads up, we're about to discuss some spoilers for the original Final Fantasy VII, the remake, and Crisis Core, so consider yourself warned. Rebirth looks to dramatically deviate from the plot of the original Final Fantasy VII, as the trailer shows a lot of Zack Fair, who is supposed to have died at the end of the 2007 PSP spin-off Crisis Core. In addition, Aerith's narration throughout Rebirth's trailer seems to hint at a change in the story with "the past is forever, but the future, even if it has been written, can be changed." The trailer also showed a conversation between Cloud and Aerith, where Aerith questions Cloud about dying and being an imposter. The events that transpired at the end of Remake shows Cloud and team beating the Whisperers, who are essentially ensuring the original Final Fantasy VII story is maintained. But by beating the Whisperers, it alludes that Final Fantasy Remake and beyond will not be obligated to keep to the original game story, with the game even ending with "the unknown journey will continue." Square Enix's Yoshinori Kitase pointed out that despite Remake's ending, the game would not shift away from the original story's direction, which at this point, I think we can all agree is BS. Remake introduced an entirely new entity, the Whisperers, and their presence is a very obvious shift from the original plot of Final Fantasy VII. I'm calling Kitase's bluff and raising him a chocobo, but ultimately we'll have to wait until next winter to find out exactly how many liberties the next installment takes with the source material. Moving on, the retro beat-em-up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge released this week, and it's hitting all the right notes for nostalgic 90s kids. The studio not only brought back the original TMNT voice actors for the game, they also got an epic vocalist to perform a faithful rendition of the theme song. Mike Patton, best known as the lead vocalist for alternative rock band Faith No More, lent his voice to the game for a new version of the classic cartoon opening, which you probably have stuck in your head just from me mentioning it. This is just the latest of Patton's video game voice roles. He voiced the Anger Sphere in the original Portal, provided some guttural growls and groans for the zombies in Left 4 Dead, starred as Nathan Rad Spencer in the 2009 Bionic Commando reboot, and most famously played the titular entity in The Darkness and its sequel. IGN's review of Shredder's Revenge was extremely positive, giving it an 8 out of 10, praising its faithfulness to the classic TMNT arcade game while still trying new things. And much like Faith No More, the team at Tribute Games and .mu clearly care a lot. And finally, oh snap! One of the best Pokemon games from the N64 era will soon be available for Nintendo Switch Online subscribers. Pokemon Snap, the original Pocket Monster photography simulation, will be available on Switch starting June 24th. Pokemon Snap has players embark on a journey to Pokemon Island as Todd Snap under the guidance of Professor Oak to take pictures of Pokemon. The original Pokemon Snap released back in 1999 for the Nintendo 64, and any fans who were let down by the updated version released last year will surely be happy to get their hands on the original again. Much like Xbox Game Pass or PlayStation Plus, the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack includes access to a library of games which has been steadily growing. Now, let's hope Nintendo adds Donkey Kong 64 next. Nintendo revealed details on the upcoming Xenoblade Chronicles 3 during their direct livestream today, and we have the lowdown on everything mentioned. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is set in a ravaged world with two nations in conflict, Agnes and Keves, with the 6 main characters broken up into 2 parties from opposing sides of the conflict. The characters eventually realize they have a common enemy and join forces to reach Sword March, a land pierced by a huge stone sword. In addition to the 6 main characters, a roster of heroes will act as the 7th member to your party. While the game features many heroes, you can only choose one in your party at a time. The battle system for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a real-time RPG, which allows players to freely switch between party members at any time, and features the classic RPG trinity of character classes, attackers, defenders, and healers. Each character will be able to switch between classes, which the game encourages to allow for a well-rounded team. This will allow characters to use various different arts, which are special abilities that when chained together create devastating combos. The coolest reveal during the Xenoblade Direct was the game's Ouroboros interlinking, which allows 2 party members to fuse together. Think Gohan and Trunks fusion power, if that helps. And depending on which character is chosen to be the dominant in the pair, the Ouroboros abilities will change. Interlinking is temporary, so it would be ideal to follow it up with some chain combos for heavy damage. The Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Direct also announced the game's $29 expansion pass and a timeline of what to expect. At launch, the pass will release helpful items for players with a new challenge battle, new hero, new quests, and new outfits coming at the end of 2022. In 2023, another new challenge battle, hero quest, new story scenario, and more are promised to arrive. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 launches July 29th with a collector's edition exclusive to the My Nintendo store. Moving on, Final Fantasy XVI producer Naoki Yoshida gives some insight on what to expect for the next installment, hinting the game will not follow in its predecessor's footsteps. In an interview with IGN, Yoshida says Final Fantasy XVI will not be a large-scale open-world RPG.
Instead, it will focus on an area-based design similar to those in Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Yoshida also said Final Fantasy XVI will take inspiration from AAA open-world RPGs, saying, "We found in our extensive user research that many of the younger generation of gamers have never played a Final Fantasy or don't have any interest in the series. To create a game that might excite and resonate not only with our core fans, but also with that new generation, we've played a lot of games ourselves. And so yes, in Final Fantasy XVI, you'll find inspiration from recent AAA open-world RPGs. However, to bring a story that feels like it spans an entire globe and beyond, we decided to avoid an open-world design that limits us to a single open-world space and instead focus on an independent area-based game design that can give players a better feel of a truly global scale." Yoshida also discussed Final Fantasy XVI's version of summons called icons. Considered weapons of mass destruction capable of leveling nations, icons are wielded by dominants and will appear in many different situations that both help and oppose players. Yoshida explains players will control an icon in real time, battling other icons in visually spectacular sequences that will seamlessly change depending on the battle. Finally, Yoshida went on to assure that fans should expect Final Fantasy XVI to be a very different experience from other Final Fantasy titles like Final Fantasy XIV and VII Remake, but is confident that he and his team can carry over the magic from the MMO. Final Fantasy XVI launches in the summer of 2023, but if fans can't wait that long, Square Enix will release Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Remaster later this year. And finally, the sci-fi RPG Cyberpunk 2077 from CD Projekt Red is getting a new port akin to its original Cyberpunk origins. Not to be confused with the Cyberpunk tabletop RPG, Cyberpunk 2077 is being turned into an old-school style board game with dice and counters. No electricity is required as players can hire famous edge runners like Johnny Silverhand, River Ward, Carrie Eurodyne, and more. The board game tasks players with playing out their own story among the gang of Night City. Up to 4 players can compete to take on the role as ruthless gangs vying for control over the underground glittering hellhole that is Night City. Battle in meat suits or on the net to dominate the criminal underworld and rule the streets. Cyberpunk 2077 Gangs of Night City Kickstarter is live right now, and for those who decide to back the project, will receive some exclusive items. Now that I think about it, you'll need electricity to play the game.
It's time to take a quick break. When we come back, we have an exclusive look at Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, and we explain the latest allegations against Ezra Miller. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Vinnie Mac is stepping down as CEO and chairman of WWE amidst allegations of having an affair with a former colleague. But the controversy train continues as the Flash movie is currently in jeopardy due to recent actions by Ezra Miller. Let's toss it to Akeem and check out some more details.
Now, with more controversy coming Ezra Miller's way, Warner Brothers is no doubt facing a difficult decision regarding the Flash movie set to release in June of next year. According to TMZ, the parents of 18-year-old activist Dakota Iron Eyes filed a complaint accusing Miller of grooming their child. Now, the two reportedly met when Miller was 23 and Dakota was 12, with the parents claiming the actor used, quote, violence, intimidation, the threat of violence, fear, paranoia, delusions, and drugs to hold sway over Dakota. Now, this is just the latest in a series of incidents that have gotten Miller in trouble, including multiple arrests in Hawaii for disorderly conduct and a video that surfaced in 2020 that appeared to show the actor choking a fan. Now, authorities are having a hard time locating Miller to issue the restraining order, but the actor did respond to these allegations in a series of Instagram stories on their now deleted account. Now, one of the posts reads, quote, "You cannot touch me, I am in another universe." Well, Miller was set to unite the various universes in the DC Extended Universe, but with all of the controversies that have been emerging in recent months, it remains to be seen if the actor's relationship will last with Warner Brothers. What also remains to be seen is the Flash movie, which begs the question, with everything that's going on with the movie's main star, what are WB gonna do? What are they gonna do? What can they do, actually? And if there's no plans on recasting the role of the Flash, given production is complete and reshoots would be a freaking nightmare, WB is left with two options. Release the movie as is and hope the actor's real-life troubles don't affect the performance at the box office, or scrap the movie entirely. Then again, there is a precedent for replacing a problematic actor with reshoots. I mean, following Kevin Spacey's sexual assault allegations, Ridley Scott reshot all of Spacey's scenes for his 2017 film All the Money in the World, with Christopher Plummer playing his role. Now, that was done only a month before it hit theaters. Now, The Flash is currently slated to hit theaters exactly 1 year and 3 days from now, so if WB goes that route, there's still time, but it won't be cheap. It's just a shame that The Flash has been marred by troubles facing its current star, as WB has been trying so damn hard to get a Flash movie off the ground since the late 80s. Now, this is the closest WB has gotten in decades, and yet, as it approaches the finish line, circumstances beyond anyone's control is fixing to throw a big-ass wrench in the entire project. Now, putting our entertainment and enjoyment aside, I honestly really hope Ezra Miller gets some help with whatever might be going on in their lives, because it seems like this is a real cry for help. Now, we need to talk about Ezra and The Flash, so drop your thoughts and comments down below. Now, in much lighter news, a documentary on the Nintendo 64 classic GoldenEye 007 is set for release. Celebrating the game's 25th anniversary, the doc will take us through the journey of making the groundbreaking James Bond movie tie-in that would go on to change the way first-person shooters were perceived on consoles. Now, you can catch Golden Era on digital, releasing June 27th. And finally, get ready to snag tickets to see Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Now, Crunchyroll has announced that tickets for the global release of the movie will go on sale July 22nd for the US and Canada, arriving in more than 2,300 theaters in the US. Now, with the movie already out in Japan, super fans have been tiptoeing around the internet like a landmine to avoid spoilers, which is practically impossible when you have YouTubers and tweeters shamelessly sharing the damn information. I actually got spoiled by one of my bosses. I'm not gonna say which one, but he's watching this video. You know who you are. You spoiled the movie for me. Anyways, if you're like me, you'll wait for Dragon Ball Super Superhero to release in theaters August 19th. Vince McMahon is voluntarily stepping down as CEO and chairman of the WWE, while the company's board of directors conduct an investigation into alleged misconduct accusations. Now, instead of just saying, "You're fired," they'll do their due diligence with making sure no rock is left unturned, including The Rock.
Enjoy your gaming.
Actually, he has nothing to do with this, so please, let's take his name out of this. Now, according to the Wall Street Journal, which brought these allegations to the surface, McMahon reportedly established a separation agreement and paid $3 million to a former female employee as hush money regarding a consensual affair the two had. And according to the report, the board of directors uncovered even more potential payouts and legal agreements McMahon may have had with other female employees. Now, to note, the company is also conducting a similar investigation of misconduct regarding the company's head of talent relations, John Laurinaitis. Now, you'd think there'd be no chance in hell, see what I did there? No chance in hell we'd be seeing Vince McMahon show up in the public eye during this investigation, but according to the WWE's official Twitter, Vince is showing up tonight on SmackDown, handling, quote, business as usual, whatever the hell that means. Now, while he'll be stepping down as chairman and CEO, having daughter Stephanie McMahon fill in for the time being, Vince will still be involved in the creative for the company. Now, as for what we'll see from him tonight on SmackDown, well, we'll find out in a few hours, or depending on when you're watching this video, you already know. Now, one thing's for certain, the company knows it'll see a significant boost in ratings, as we'll all be watching to see if the allegations will be addressed live on television. Now, whatever it is, I say, just bring it. Comment down below. Now, in other news, Kit Harington is returning to play Jon Snow in a Game of Thrones spin-off series. Now, according to The Hollywood Reporter, this will be a sequel to the original Game of Thrones HBO show, and we can likely expect it to take place after the events of the 8th and final season. Now, it'll be interesting to see what direction HBO will be going after the divisiveness of the last season. Now, no word on when we can expect it, but we can look forward to the prequel series, House of Dragon, August 21st on HBO. And finally, Vash the Stampede is back in action with a new Trigun series. Now, coming out next year and titled Trigun Stampede, Studio Orange will be producing the new anime with an all-new staff and cast. Now, Studio Orange brought us the Netflix hit Beastars, so you know the animation is gonna be top-notch. Now, for the uncultured out there, Trigun is a classic anime based on the manga of the same name by Yoshihiro Natao that ran on Adult Swim's anime block in the early 2000s. If you know, you know. It's nice to see Vash and his ridiculously long red leather jacket making a return in 2023. All right, now we got some exclusive first looks at the orcs from Prime Video's The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Now, with the series taking place in the Second Age, we'll be seeing different variants of orcs fighting for survival thousands of years before they become a force of nature poised to help level the realms of elf and man. Now, we here at IGN wanted to get a better sense of what's in store for viewers of the upcoming Lord of the Rings series, so we spoke with the show's executive producer, Lindsay Weber, to get the lowdown on this new approach to the orcs' appearance on the small screen. And she said, quote, "We spent a lot of time talking about what it would mean to be an orc in the Second Age. It felt appropriate that their look would be different, part of a wilder, more raw Second Age Middle Earth, closer to where the First Age ends. As we meet them, they're not yet organized into armies. They're a little more scattered and they've been scavenging. So it's just a different time in their total story." Now, I want you all to really take a close look at these exclusive photos so you can see the difference in how the orcs are presented in this series. Now, it's a vast difference from the grittier, more war-torn versions we see in the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings film trilogy. Now, we were told that their look is a marriage between practical and CGI effects. Now, let us know your thoughts on these first looks from The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, and be sure to check it out in motion come September 2nd on Prime Video. All right, now in Marvel news, Christian Bale didn't know what the MCU was before he joined it as Gore the God Butcher in Thor: Love and Thunder. Now, speaking with Total Film, he remarked on if he had any issues with taking on another comic book role following his portrayal of Batman in the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight films, to which he said, quote, "Absolutely not, no. That didn't even enter into my head at all. I'd read that and people would go, oh, look at this, he's entered the MCU. And I'd go, I've done what? I haven't entered. Thank you very much. I'm like the MCU. I had to ask what that was." Now, post-Endgame, I think we're all asking, what is the MCU these days, if not just a protracted epilogue of films and streaming shows building up to a whimpering thud? Now, the MCU needs to really find its mojo again, otherwise Hollywood as a whole will be asking the same question Bale has. All right, now speaking of Christian Bale, another actor with a similar sounding name, Kristen Bale, had a small announcement on a little Disney movie on The Tonight Show.
Frozen 3, can we announce anything?
I would like to officially announce, with zero authority, Frozen 3.
Wow!
Now keep in mind, she did say zero authority, so obviously it's not an official announcement that something's in the works. But she went on to say that her co-star Idina Menzel is all in on returning, so if the cast is keen to return, the fans want it, then why the hell not make it happen? And honestly, I'll tell you right now, you never know what Disney might pull out of the vault.
Over the weekend, TSM FTX announced it was going to take legal action against Godlike, an esports organization in India, after signing PUBG mobile player Shadow. There's been a bit of back and forth between TSM FTX and Godlike on Twitter. TSM's director of mobile, Jeff Chow, tweeted that they would be pursuing legal action and that this was about the integrity of competitive esports in India. Piecing together the timeline of events, TSM had benched Shadow a few days ago, and apparently Shadow had reached out to Godlike to move orgs. A termination letter was reportedly sent to TSM FTX before Shadow moved to Godlike. Chow released screenshots of a conversation with Shadow saying he was confused about being loaned to a team for free so he could continue playing with being released from his contract for free. Godlike put out a statement saying that TSM was publicly slandering them and Shadow without any proof or legal ground, and reiterated that Shadow had sent a termination letter for his contract and followed all legal and ethical procedures. I'm Stella Chung, and that was your Weekly Fix. We'll be back here next Saturday with more of the biggest gaming and entertainment news of the week. See you then!